Yeah, Leroy, Motley, original roadman. But listen, tune into Uncle Jammer. Real thing. Alright then.
One, my people, it's the Uncle Jums, the Streatham representative. I'm here with the man like Atum. How are you, blood?
I'm fine. Family, how
good,
are you?
yeah?
Yes, I'm wonderful.
Good, yeah? Alright, people, this week we're going to talk about the free man on the land. Yeah, it's a very serious subject. Yeah, subject, hot topic.
I got you.
He's got me, man. You got me.
Basically,
right? Let's break it.
The free man on the land experience that most people are having out there in YouTube land is partly true and partly false, just like anything else in this existence. But starting off talking about the birth certificate, basically, you might not know this, or you might know it, or you might have dabbled in it. If you've got a birth certificate, then that is your receipt, and your birth certificate is now floating on the stock exchange. Because when your mother gave birth to you, she registered you, and unbeknown to you, the word register means in law, because law is different from the normality world you see around you, the word register means to abandon and disown. So as soon as your mother registers you, she's effectively abandoned you and disowned you, and now you are a ward of the state. So basically that's what's happened to everybody since the year 1666. Pudding Lane, the Great Fire of London, which took place in Pudding Lane, they actually set that fire themselves so they can bring in this law which says that every man and woman are born dead. So where you're thinking that you're alive, which you are flesh and blood and you're alive and you're breathing, obviously, but in the law of the land, in this system, you're seen as dead. And
Is that why they get you to put your name in capitals?
yeah, that's another reason,
What
because
is that, the straw man thing?
kind of. So anything that's in capital letters is a corporate entity. So if your name's in capital letters, that means you're a corporate entity. You're a legal fiction, appellation, crown created entity created by the crown. So you're not real, basically. Your name in capital letters, but you are real.
But you're just not the guy in the capital letters.
No,
That's
but
just straw man.
they keep trying to affixate you with that. So in the case of you going to court, or in the case of letters coming to your house, or in the case of anything, as soon as you got that birth certificate, you became a legal fiction, appellation, crown created entity. That's why we have to ask ourselves, why has the Labour Party leader, Ed Miliband, or whatever his name is, or it might be his brother, why hasn't his son got a birth certificate? Because he knows. And he's got enough money to see his son right away through his life without claiming for benefits. Now, not saying that the benefits system wasn't put there by the Moors, by melanated beings, because we put the benefit system there in the first place. Unbeknown to you, your national insurance number is your bank account. But you think it's a place where the taxpayers put money so you can get your benefits. So when you see programs like Benefit Street, and people are thinking that these people that are on benefits are taking the taxpayers' money, they're not taking the taxpayers' money, because as soon as you was born, yeah, they created a legal fiction. And when you was 16, they opened your bank account so they can go in it and go to war with different countries, because it's your bank account. your NI number. That's your bank account. And I'm here to tell everybody that you can actually pay off any debts by using your national insurance number. But you have to be studious in this game. You have to know what you're doing. You have to, for instance, if I wanted to pay off a parking ticket, yeah, and I wanted to use the A for V system, which is accepted for value, return for value. So if a parking ticket is on my window, I take it home and I accept it as value and I return it as value, you have to know how to do that, because you have to first write to the Treasury and the Inland Revenue to get their agreement. And this is where contract law comes in, yeah? If you don't write to the Inland Revenue or the Treasury, let's say, and inform them that now I want you guys to open up my national insurance number, any debts that come to me, I want you to balance that account to zero by using my national insurance number. Non-rebuttal of my letter within 14 days will be seen as an agreement between me and you that you're going to do this. Mm-hmm. Alright, so that's contract law. Like, you can thump me in my face now, yeah, and I got your address or your name. All I need is your name, because that's a legal fiction. And I write to you that you owe me £20,000, yeah, because you injured and hindered me and harassed me, yeah. And now, if I put at the bottom of the letter, non-rebuttal of this letter within 14 days will be seen as an agreement between me and you. If you take that letter and dash it in the bin, that means you've agreed to pay the money.
Yeah.
So then I can bring you to court. So that's how this thing is. You can do this with anybody or anything. But you just have to be studious as far as knowing that the pen is mightier than the sword. And that's the key. But we as Moors, we don't think that writing things is any good. But I think it would be good to be writing things that inspires you and empowers you. So I want you guys to start picking up your pens and going on the internet, because where the information is coming from is the internet, yeah? And so it's used for good and it's used for bad. But them bringing out the internet is going to crush them. Where they think that it's benefiting them, it's going to bring down this maybe, let's call it 6 ether energy. 6 ain't bad though. Peace to all the 6s.
So let me ask you a question. So basically, when you receive a bill,
yeah,
it's a contract. If you accept the contract, yeah, and send back, how does it work? If they send you a bill, it's a contract, yeah. You can either choose whether to send them the money or send them back and say that you decline that. Right.
Is
that how it works?
It does work, but you have to know how to
word it.
So if you're dealing with parking tickets, the first thing you do is you write them a letter. Like I wrote the Inland Revenue a letter which says, notice of claim of right and intent, Inland Revenue, HM Revenue, Somerset House, London, SW2R 10B, yada 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 yada. Yeah, and it says, dear Simon Bowles, because you research Simon Bowles, you look at who he is, who runs the Inland Revenue. Dear Simon Bowles, Chief Financial Officer, Inland Revenue, HM. I'm writing you regarding my own ongoing private administrative process in the set-off, settling and closure in all matters relating to Mr. Blah Blah Blah, or Mr. Men, or Mr. Smith, or Mr. Sheen, or whatever Mr. they're trying to tell you, yeah? Okay. Where is it my understanding that the Cesta QV account, which is your national insurance number, this is the Latin word I think for it, yeah? The Cesta QV account. Number blah 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 has now been claimed, and I have an agreement with you, because I've already wrote them a letter. This is my second letter. That's how on top of this thing I am. I have an agreement with you, my reference number, so I make up my own reference number because I am my own on my square, I'm a Moor, which was sent to you on the 12th of the 12th of the 11th, stating that this account will be open to administrate any charges, bills belonging to Mr. blah blah blah, using an exemption number, as it is my understanding that this is a lawful procedure under UCC reservation of rights. If not, I am conditionally accepting your offer upon proof of claim that Mr. blah 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 birth certificate was not subverted for the foreign Citus Trust, that's different from the Cester because it's older, into the Cester QV Trust at the age of 16. So when I was younger, from the age from 1 to 16, it was called the Foreign Citus Trust. When I became 16, it changed its name to the Cester QV Trust, and at the age of 16, and on proof of claim of which constitutes blurring, which they blurred this shit on us, yeah? Blurring of lines, smoke and mirrors, and this is too numerous to mention, and false claims as to the Crown created legal entity, which is a piece of paper. So your birth certificate, they're trying to fix you to it and saying you're a piece of paper. And if they got a piece of paper and you're a piece of paper, they can put that receipt piece of paper in a warehouse. That's the pen or the bin. If for you people that's been to Her Majesty's Pleasure.
Okay, all right. One thing I want to ask you again now.
Yeah.
For the youths on the road now, that's getting stopped by the police and getting harassed by the police and getting nicked for no reason. How do you deal with a police officer when a police officer comes up to you and wants to stop you, wants to know your name, and wants to search you and then detains you for no apparent reason? For
the youths them that are not high all the time, not saying I don't smoke, but it's gonna be for the youths them that's not high all the time. One way of talking to them, right? Remember this: just like everywhere is a courtroom, everywhere. The shop is a courtroom, the bus stop is a courtroom, the bus is a courtroom, everywhere's a courtroom. So when a police approaches you, you got to know how to conditionally accept anything that this policeman says to you upon proof of claim that you're not here merely to keep the peace. You know, so that's what we do. You got to conditionally accept what he's got to say upon proof of claim. He's not allowed to go in your pockets by law. He's not. The more you talk to him, is the more you drag yourself deeper into a hole. Basically, there's a lot to discuss about how to approach a policeman and how. You know what? I could say this: when police, CID have all had me by myself, they said, "Am I a district judge? Am I a district judge?" Because remember this in life, children, the master always asks the questions. So when the police come to me, I take out my notepad and I start asking him his number, where you live, what nationality are you? Because I know my nationality, yeah?
Yeah.
And every melanated person should know that your nationality by law is that you are a Moor by law in the Eurocentric world. They know you as a Moor. But when we keep coming to them as African, Caribbean, Trinidadian, my brethren from this place, they don't want to hear that. So we gave them our thing to look after, and they said, all right, we'll look after your thing, which is what you're seeing around you, the system, but you can have it back. But if you kind of, if you don't come back as a Moor, we're not giving you back nothing. So what he's done is put us to sleep. Now we've woke up and we can't remember that we were Moors. We can't remember that we were Cushites. We can't remember jack shit. You know? Because they got the Ami selling.
So, all right. So basically, yeah, when a man's dealing with this free man on the land thing, he has to actually know what he's talking about.
Yeah, but it's not.
If you don't, you can land yourself in a lot of trouble, a lot of bother.
Well, that's where false evidence appearing real comes in, as Nas talked about on one of his albums, but he didn't really understand what's going on. False evidence appearing real as fear, as you know, yeah? So, Just like Dr. York Malachi, let's say for example, no disrespect to anybody that with their beliefs, yeah.
Shalom.
Aye. Just like the court system was designed for them to practice plausible denial. So you can come as a Moor now in the court now. They practice plausible denial, which is that they will turn their head to that. But you have to know everything's an offer. They got to say something. And anytime a magistrate's talking, they're giving you an offer. You have to know wordology. It's not like rocket science. We know we like to study things that free us anyway. So it's quite easy to study things that will free you. And then learn it. And then, boy, you got something under your belt that you can use. But they're always going to work plausible denial on you, yeah? So you might be in a courtroom and you might be trying your thing, yeah? And they might say, okay, we'll hold you in contempt of court, which is an offer. They're not telling you that the man's going to run out the thing now and duff you up and bring you down. They're giving you, she's offering something to you, or he's offering something to you. We're going to hold you in contempt of court. Offer. That's an offer. So what you say, I will do what you want me to do and say what you want me to say over my objection of threat, duress and coercion. You squash their offer. So if you ain't got nothing to answer the judge or whoever's chatting shit to you and you haven't got nothing to answer them and you're just like the solicitor, you're finished. You're finished anyway from you got a solicitor. From you got a solicitor in a courtroom, you're dead stock. Furthermore, from you even go in the place, you're finished. And if you don't go in the place, they're going to catch you at the benefit office because you're a fucking slave already because you got a birth certificate. So, who do we beat up, our mums? I done told my mum, she said, sorry, if I would have known, love, I wouldn't have done it. Do you know what I mean? But now, you better just behave yourself because you know they're the biggest army out there talking about the police. But yo, man, the one is the all and the all is the one. So that's why the key to this thing is love. It's just that certain beings or part of the all don't understand that yet. But you will, everything will understand what it's supposed to understand. Because the all is the one and the one is the all. And that's all I want to say.
Trust me. Peeps, you got the knowledge, and knowledge is power. We're out. Be up, my brother. Yes. Blessed, yeah? Out.